Hello, 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 hello. Yes, Balozi Esrak here. Welcome to Undone Tree. If it's the first time here, I'm pleased that you have joined the club. I'm pleased that you are following us. I believe you won't be disappointed with what you are going to hear, whether you agree with us or not. We are not here to try make sure that everybody agree with us. We are here to share common sense thoughts. Through this, we build wisdom. The aim of this podcast is to discuss what connects or disconnect us. If you've been here before, then I'm sure you know what it is. You know what we do here. Today, we are back with another very important episode. And I mean very important. As you know, certain things are more important than the other. Certain things are personal. Also, why this is important is because you are either a mother or a father, or you are a child, or you have children in the future. So the topic of today concerning all of us, human being, and I mean all of us. While some of the other topics, if let's say we are talking about sport, you might feel like you don't have interest in sport. Although we don't usually focus on the actual activity, we focus on the behavior of a human being. This is why we say what connect and disconnect us. This is either positive or negative. We are going to continue producing long and short episodes. And one way we do this is to produce a long episode. And then within that long episode, there will be questions from you guys that you ask us. And we can come and answer those specific questions. But there are also areas where something may be just a small point that don't require much explanations. I know in the modern society, people don't like to listen to long things. People are not patient, right? Everything has to be quick. And this is the reason why we are failing some of the most easiest things. Although we have all the resources around, you look around the people you used to respect a lot. Some of them, the things they do, the things they say, you'll be disappointed. Wow, is this Uncle Johnny who's saying, or doing that? It is as if our thoughts are going backward. And some of the misunderstanding we have is because we want quicker things, easy things. Somebody can spend 20 minutes explaining you something. In a matter of time, trust me, you'll be disappointed. I would rather spend 4 or 5 hours talking to you about the importance of saying hello to somebody. And you may think, wow, why we keep talking about this great thing? Why? No, it's because you are not getting it. And it is annoying, even to the person who's taking his time or time explaining you what he shouldn't be explaining. These are the things that you should know yourself. As an individual, these are not things that the other person should be telling you. But because that person cares, because you're misunderstanding, then this person will take a lot of time try to make sure you understand. And then you take that person for granted. This is a topic for another day. These are the things that we try to polish on this podcast. Try to remove this type of mentality. If most of us use our common sense, probably we all gonna have wisdom. Today, as I said, we have a very interesting topic, and the topic of today is why I hate my father. Why I hate my father. As I said, this is personal, and I'm sure you understand when I say it's personal, just like I said earlier, because we were all once a child of somebody, or we still children of somebody. Either we are parent, you are a father, you are a mother, or you're going to be one. So this is why this is very important. And my advice to you is that you have to follow this topic when you know you are in a place where there is not so much distraction. Because these type of episodes are no episode like the others. Some of the other episodes we produce or you hear, you can follow this wherever you are. You are driving, you are working, but episodes like these require you to understand or to follow almost every detail, every word said. Because the misunderstanding of one particular phrase can actually ruin everything. I would also advise that if you're a father, it would be nice to follow this podcast with your wife. If you're a mother, you follow it with your husband. If you are a parent, you follow it with your children, particularly those who are 12, above, and that kind of thing. And if you are a child, let's say you have come across this podcast, it will be nice to follow this episode with the parent to make sure that you are looking at their body language, right? And if you are a parent, and you know, I already said the children will be following your body language, this doesn't mean that you have now to compose yourself to not blink or not moving and things like that. No. This is just something that I feel is important because there is a lesson of feelings. And as you know, I often start by giving background information. I try to tell a story because we are here to have a conversation, and then we will develop and conclude. If you are to skip the video, then it won't be great because you won't understand exactly the conversation, and all this creates that misunderstanding. This is the reason why I said it is important you follow this kind of episode. When you know you are at the right place, don't come complain, oh, an episode is long, is this, whatever. No, these are recorded episodes, so you can follow them in your own time. You can decide to follow half, but I think they are great when you follow them from the beginning to the end, right? Don't think what I am going to say. Just listen. Whoever this is, myself or somebody else you are listening to, at the end of the conversation, you make your own conclusion. You can decide from there. These are the basic things we try to advise here. Some people are so quick to jump in their conclusion. They are so quick to judge others. As soon as somebody starts saying something, they already jump in. No, allow people to communicate, listen, give the person as much time as they need to say whatever they're going to say. I'm not saying when people are shouting or disrespecting people. I'm just saying particularly when it's a conversation. It's important to listen to the person until when they finish, and then you can come in. That will allow you to not misunderstand them. And sometimes try to ask questions. Is this what you said? Did I understand you correctly? Because what you are doing is you are not creating your own words or your own meaning, but you are making sure that what you understood is not your own understanding, but you share the same understanding with the person who was telling the story or who was talking to you, because that person is the one who knows deeply the truth behind what he or she was saying. Let's start with explaining this as a story, right? We are on a life, and in order to answer this question of why I hate my father, it is important we tell the story of life. As you know, our life starts in our mother's wombs, right? Our father will travel, and then we meet our mother or met our mother. The two parents came together, and through that connection, a child started somewhere in the womb of the mother. There were two different individuals who were born in completely different families, right? Yes, there are those who have grown up together as friends and all that, yes. But we are talking about people who have come different paths of life. They come and meet. One in particular saw the other and was so pleased with the other person, and they felt in love with this person, or felt the importance of being with this person in his or her life. And they will come to an agreement that somehow they have to develop a particular relationship. You know, love often very sweet at the beginning when two people come together. Then after coming together, they will develop their relationship to the point where they will actually produce a child in the home. This baby is connected directly through umbilical cord to the mother. This is important. It means that the life of this baby in the womb depends on the mother. This baby breathes the air or the breath that the mother breathes. This baby eats the food that this mother eats. If this mother stops breathing, then the great chance is that the baby is also going to stop breathing, unless this baby is already old enough in the womb, and as soon as the mother passed away, the baby is brought out, the baby may survive. We are talking in the womb. In this sense, the first person the baby comes to know is the mother. The baby can feel the touch of the mother. I'm not a medical expert, but around this time, the father is somewhere out of the spots. This father may be sitting close to the mother, but the child don't have much connection in this moment with the father. The only connection they have is the blood or the DNA or whatever you can call it that the father carried and handed it to the mother. That is the only connection that exists there. But outside, daddy is part of that life and is making sure that the mother gets what they need to continue making sure that the baby inside is well and safe, eating good, he or she is warm, and get whatever I need. And as you know, sometimes when mamas are pregnant, they do all sorts of things to our papas. I want this. When papa bring it, no, I don't want this. I needed that. I needed this. And papa will be struggling with stress. You as a baby inside, you have no idea what this papa going through. And the dad will make sure he does whatever it takes to contribute to make sure that this baby is born and is born in a condition that is suitable. In this sense, I'm talking about a father who is present when this journey is happening. I want to therefore point out that there is already a large connection between a mother and a child. Now, I want you to imagine if men were or start getting pregnancy, so after the baby is delivered, born, apart from the doctors and nurses, the first person who puts their hands on that baby is the mother. Yes, the father may be in the room, but most of the time when the doctor delivers the baby, even sometimes before they wipe even that baby, they hand that baby to the mother. As I said, I'm not a medical expert and I've never been where a baby is being delivered. I'm just saying based on what I have seen, based on the videos and things like that. We often see the doctors hand that baby to the mother in the first place. And I feel like this is to continue providing that connection between the mother and the baby. The baby will feel the warmth of the mother. We communicate with the mother. We be held in the hand of the mother. And the mother will also feel the presence of the baby, because this is a very hard work happening here. This is somebody who was carrying something heavy, something stressful for 9 months, sometimes longer than that or short than that. So when these things come out, oh, it's like, oh, thank you, Lord. You know, everybody are emotional at this moment. The father, the mother, it is emotional. Member of family are so pleased because it's never easy until when a baby is delivered. So the mother getting the confirmation that the baby is here. What a beautiful baby, right? And before you know it, the baby will be introduced to the father. The father will also have an opportunity to put their hands on the baby and other people around. At this moment, daddy is like a random person. Then this parent will leave the hospital and we go home. And what often happens is that the mother will start feeding the baby the milk from their breast. Either this is using the breast or whatever, but it's the same milk coming from the same woman. So the feeding that started from the womb will continue. The connection will continue to be developed by feeding the baby. So there is a power there when mamas feed the baby, and the person who will spend most of the time with this baby is more likely to be the mother. The baby will continue to experience the warmth of the mother, the cold of the mother, the cuddles of the mother, the kisses of the mother. Papa will come and go like a guest, and what daddy will be doing, he will continue with the same mission, making sure that the mother and the baby continue getting what is needed. Daddy will be going one place to another to try bring something, and these daddies can be sometimes away even for a week or 2 weeks, for a year. The father is somewhere and the mother is present. Continue with the attachment of herself and the baby. The baby cry, the mother hold that baby. Every time daddy comes, it's kind of like a stranger a little bit, you know. Although as a human, there is some power that God or the creator has created between us. You are told that the baby knows the smell of her or his mother. It knows the father. The baby will start familiarizing with the other people around, taking part in his or her life, noticing the face, the touch, and all this. But daddy's absence started from the womb. And then when the baby comes out, he will continue to be absent. Not by his choice, but because that work has to be done. He has to go to work and come in the evening or sometimes at night. So the absence of the father didn't just randomly starts once the baby is born. The absence of the father started when the baby was in the womb. The presence of the mother didn't just start randomly, but this was naturally there even before a baby was a baby. So there is a connection that started while the baby was an egg. Then this relationship will continue, and the father will continue to do whatever he can to make sure he also is known here by this baby, right? As I was saying, there is a natural connection that exists between a baby and a mother that is almost impossible to disconnect. But after the baby is born, the job is not finished, because all these connections and the relationship can fall apart. Therefore, a new relationship needs to be developed. And that comes with a presence, somebody being present. in the life of that individual. So what you notice is if something is to happen to the mother and the mother is absent from that baby, the father is the one who's present. The baby will start developing a much deep connection and relationship with the father. Perhaps that was never there. Or if the mother was not to be present most of the time, now the mother has found a job, going to work, come very late, this baby has somebody who's looking after her. This baby will develop a deep relationship with this other individual, a great connection. And sometimes you have seen babies, you hand them to their mothers, they start crying and all that. They would rather be carried by this other individual. Don't sleep yet. We are on this question of why I hate my father. Now, as the child know, the father absence, as I said, will continue to be because this father has to be somewhere to continue fighting for the family. It is necessary. In this sense, what this child can see at the young age is the effort of the mother. The father can be somewhere, just like the mother was being fed by the father while the baby is still in the womb, and the baby didn't know that this food was coming from his or a father. This can happen even after this child is born, is growing up. The father will be going from one place to the other to provide for the family. And because of the assurance to know that there are other people involved, father, sisters, government, that can support a mother, we have the courage to have this baby and make sure that the baby is born and grow. So as the father go somewhere, we buy clothes and other accessories. Sometimes what happens is that the father don't even give the child directly. It will go through the mother and the mother will hand it to the kids. The mother can say, this was bought by your dad. Sometimes they don't even mention it. And what often happens is that as years goes by, this continue to be like this. That is a man or a father who is in the presence of the mother. But then you have another type of father whom perhaps during the time you were in a home, the relationship might have broken with the father, or the mother never knew who's the father, or after a child is born, that relationship may have broken between the father and the mother, right? Which means this father can be completely absent. This may now depend on the mother. Let me add something else. The mother and the law, of course. The law is operating also as another parent here. So this mother, after the separation, may provide access to the father to play a role in the life of their child or their children, or may use her personal emotions in order to fight the battle with the father, because the thing that was connecting them, which was a relationship, is cut. The connection that exists now between them is the child or the children. In this sense, the mother who wanted to use her own emotions may start doing things to make sure that the husband or the father face difficulties, because this mother knows the only reason why that man is still in her life is the children. Therefore, to mess around the father is to use the children. And this often happens, as I said, if the fathers and the mothers separated, but some of these things can start while even these parents are still together. Let's say if there is a conflict, a disagreement between the mother and the father, the mother is often trying to run to the children. And from here, there is often more accusations. Your father is like this. Your father did this. Your father's done this. Your father that. And if it's a father was never there, it will be like the father did this. The father did that. Not at any point or many ways you hear the mother saying, I was the reason why your father left. I contributed for the departure of your father. My behavior played a role that made sure that your father is not engaging or is like this. This mother will make sure that in the eyes of the children, that father is always looking bad. We are talking about those who are doing negative things. And the particular example is this. I was born in a very disciplinary family where corporal punishments existed, and some of you have been through that. And there is something that often happens, right? If you as a child done something wrong, the mother will say, all right, did you do this? Okay, wait until your father come and you will see what he's going to do to you. Until this father will come, will be told all these bad stories the child did. This mother will make sure this child receive a punishment. And then when the father punish this child, the mother will sneak behind, or while this is happening, she will act to be the good one. Why why are you hitting her so bad or so much? That's enough now. Remember, she's the one who actually waited even days to report the child to the father and influence the father to actually take actions that she could have done herself, but she waited somebody else to come do. When the father does it, now she's getting involved. Remember I said, either she'll start refusing, say, oh, that's it. Or she will go behind and say, oh, I'm sorry, baby, blah, 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 blah. You know, your father did this because his daddy beat you or whatever, but you are doing something wrong. They will play their narcissistic politics or whatever they call it themselves. From this moment, you as a child, you're thinking, oh, my mother here, she's the nice one. The child don't think about all this politics that just happened. And because the papa comes and go, and the papa will be the one dealing with this a lot, he will continue to appear as the bad person, the one who takes bad actions against the child. The mother, very nice, innocent, has nothing to do with it. And this is why you see often as a child you do something, the first thing is you run to your mother, or you'd rather be with your mother most of the time because you can do whatever. And even when your mother try to hit you, it will be like, don't you this. But most of men are really, people don't want to get into confrontation, but when they do it, they often do it badly. And all these have an impact on the connection I am talking about. The bond continue to be broken between the father and the child or the children, and the connection between the child and the mother will continue to develop. And if we are talking about the parents who have now divorced or parents who didn't stay together, when it comes to single mothers, let's say if they were heartbroken or they're going through hard time or whatever, our mothers always playing the victims. You know, if it wasn't for this, your father did this, it wasn't that, if it did, or you did me this. They can go on for 30, 40 years and they play this victim card. The father will always be the one who did something wrong. Often you don't hear our mothers take accountability when you ask them, what did you do to save this relationship from breaking up? Did you do enough? As I said, they will continue to use the father looking bad, and that can continue to break up the relationship between the child and the father. And if you are a father who's now aware, whenever this mother is going through any problem, as a father, you will test it there. I mean, when they are going through problems, you often get it there. Men will be dealing with the problem of a woman who's with another man. If that mother is not happy with the man is with, they are going through tough time or whatever is happening there, that man is always experiencing it. They will make sure they are getting a little test of it through the children. And as men, if you care, you always want to make sure that the children or the child is happy. Therefore, you often appear and you always try to play cool. I'm not talking about those fathers who play gangster or whatever, but I'm saying, general speaking, men will try to be humble. Their thought may be like, if the mother of my child or my children is not happy, that means the children are not happy if she's the one who is with the children or the child. In this sense, the father will be doing it for his children or his child, not merely for the mother. Yes, in some sense, men can still care because you can move on and still care, you know, even if you didn't have kids. But what I'm saying is that for the sake of the children, this father will end up doing things out of his line. This is perhaps already a married man, but will be going the next mile, even dealing with the problem of the ex-wife or the mother of his child or children, because he feels that he has some form of responsibility or role to play there in order for the children or the child to be happy. This doesn't often happen the other way around. When mothers are happy, even if papa is going through hell, it's kind of like cool, innit? Happy days, generally speaking. So then you see these mothers use anything. Let's say you are in a country where a man is demanded to pay money to support his children. Some women will make sure they push this idea. They will take their husband or the father of their children to whatever government and the law thing, depending on the country. Even if this husband or this man has tried to be in the life of his child or his children, this woman will be pushing for this to the point where this end up being a lawful thing. And sometimes they will make sure that it is difficult for even this father to have access to his child or children. They are not doing it for the child or the children. They are doing it for their own feelings, their own emotions. This mother will now try to play a father's mother's role. And by doing this, this mother will be pushing the father away. Remember what I said? This can sometimes start happening when the father and the mother still together. But this becomes more open when they are not together. And this type of mothers will make sure that whatever the father is doing or is trying is not seen by the child. Is not seen the way it should be seen, if it makes sense. And by trying to play the mother-father ball, what this mother will do, for example, they will try to buy things for the child. If a child wants anything, they will get it. You may see them buying a child or children very expensive stuff that perhaps a 7, 8 years old, they don't need. And all this is just to try to make sure that this child is happy. And from which happiness? From a happiness to make sure that the father is out of the box. She can provide for the child or for the children. We are not talking about you good mothers who can see the whole picture. If you are one of them, this is not you. You know which one we are talking about here, right? And we try to use what they do, pass that to the father. So the father now is obliged to also buy things that she wants. They will come and say, you know, your daughter or your son need some trainers. And then you go there, buy trainers for $50. For example, your child just needs shoes. No. He doesn't wear this kind of shoes. She doesn't wear this type of shoes. And if the father tried to show, listen, this is the money. No, I'm the one who lives with this child. I'm the one who understands, who knows exactly what the child wants. This is the reason why I always try to ask you to ask me or to give the money. But this is not about you. It's not about what the child wants. It's about what the child needs. And you can provide what the child wants if you want to. What about if the father buy the $50 trainers and then you continue to buy the $300 trainers? Or let that father hand that trainers to his son or his daughter, and if that daughter refuses those trainers, let it be. Papa will know what else to do. Or I'm sure if that father speak with his child, he will be able to convince that child that what the father is providing is what he can afford. You think your father or that man got everything the child is getting now? In modern age, you are 12 years old with iPhone 16, a telephone that costs more than $1,000. In many parts of the world, this is like a dowry to pay for a wife marriage. The mother, once she was married, maybe they didn't pay all this amount of money, but this child has been trained at this age to carry an iPhone 16 for that amount of money. This is the idea introduced by the mother to go with whatever the child wants. Although this may be the mother who is struggling economically. So there will be a lot of wars happening behind the scene. The mother will make sure that what she says is what matters because she lives with the child or the children. She will make it look like the father don't know nothing about what the child may want or need. But remember, the mother told the father that your children or your child need shoes. They don't often say she wants shoes. They will use the word need, which is different from wanting some shoes. You know what you bought him last time, what you bought her last time, she never even wear it. Let me tell you, mothers, as a man, when this father is buying this, he's not thinking too much whether this child will like it. He's just thinking about providing something for his child. And if that child refuses, many men out there, they are okay with it. As in this sense, the father already done his duty. It's up to the child to decide. But because the child is poisoned to be in that position, one day they may come and they regret it. And through this, there will be a lot of activities happening. This father could be playing a role that the child may not see. Remember what I said. Sometimes the father is not even mentioned that he's the one who bought this. And this continue to make the continuation of the absence of the father in the presence of the child. The father continued to look the bad one. Remember, the father was always the bad one, was always the one who's not there. Since the baby was in a womb. And when the baby was born, the father was absent. And the journey continued. The father continued to be absent. Since the father and the mother have separated, now the distance has even extended. And now there is somebody who's making sure that it is even difficult for the father to have access to his child. Every time this father commits to do something for the child, the mother will come in to make sure that it's all about it. She will spoil it. She will create a problem out of it. And she will use all this saying that this is because she cares for her children or for the child. But the reality is, if you are pushing with a father of somebody out of somebody's life, is that what you call caring? Or you are using your own emotions, the things that you are still holding about that man, either what he did to you or knowing that he is perhaps happy wherever he is. He now has somebody else, is now married or whatever. And trust me, it gets even difficult if this mother is not doing very well. These problems will continue to the point where sometimes these men completely go silent, disappear from their children or child. And this could be done by all this behavior or by using also lawsuits. These mothers will do anything. And then when this father disappears, another case will be introduced. Your father was never there for you. Even when I was with him, it was always like this. Look at me. Look at how I have become. I have fell in this position. All this was because of your father, your father, your father, your father. And trust me, this could be a relationship that ended 20 years ago. And this can go to 30, 40, for the rest of the life. Mama will always be innocent. And the terrible person will always be the man. And often these men will withdraw because they have had enough. They cannot continue getting into confrontation with this mother. They fight of all the time for the sake of the child. The father is doing it for the sake of the child. You want to make sure that that child doesn't experience this confrontation. And some of these mothers can be very stubborn or very stupid. They will start even arguing you in front of these children to try to prove to the children, you see what I said to you about your father. They know the father is very reserved. The father don't want any confrontation because he's fighting to stay close to his children or his child. So where there is no issue, a mama will drop a bomb. And this man is not allowed to react or to respond. Or then out of nowhere, the mother will just kick off. We talk to this man anyhow because she thinks she's entitled. And trust me, when I said earlier about providing, this man may be supporting this child economically or buying things, while if, like I said, you're in a country where the government even support the children, this child may be receiving the support from the government. And this mother will be receiving not only the money from this father, but she also receiving the support from the government. But what she will do is to try to make sure that in the eyes of the child, she will make sure that everything look like it is coming from her. This is my children. I have to do all I can. I cannot see my children suffer all these. I fight myself to make sure that even if they have a job, that may not be able to sustain that family. But they will just try to make sure that they look like, remember the role I said to you, playing the role of the mother and the father. And all this is to eliminate the role of the father in the eyes of this child. If this happened 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, all this is poison inside this child or these children. It gets to the point where even a child or children don't want anything to do with their father. You see a child when he's told about his father or that guy. I don't know that man. I don't care about that man. What did that man do to you? Oh, that man, he never gave a damn about you. You sure he never gave a damn about you? You sure where that father or that man is, he doesn't deeply care about you? Or he doesn't find it hard to sleep knowing that you are not part of his life. He's not being there for you. But because as a child, you've been poisoned to make sure that you don't know your father. You don't look at your father with respect. You don't look at your father like a man. You don't look at your father like somebody who wants to carry the responsibility of your mother and yourself. And I'm talking even when these two were just boyfriend and girlfriend. Your father may be somebody who was playing a role where he was supporting your mother economically, mentally. As you know, men play more role in terms of helping mental capacity, thinking, development. And men often don't get credit of this. So because they have been so much poison, the son, the daughter will now be against the father. And the women will feel like they have won the battle. From this moment, the father goes cold, the father goes quiet. But as long as this father sending something, still supporting behind the scene, remember what I said, this is not mentioned. But the story of this father will be said that your father don't give a damn about you. He never cared. The mama may not say this directly, but this will come out somewhere. They don't understand that these children go through a level of trauma. And because as the mother, she is the only person in the presence, they just have to listen to her. It's not because they respect you, they love you, they care for you. It's because, first of all, there's this natural link that was there. Secondly, you are the one who's present. They may not want to be in a war with you as the mother. And you know some mamas who, anytime a child does something, what are you talking about? I'll send you to your father. Go live with your father. Can your father look after you like the way I do? Somehow, somewhere along the way, these women might even say during confrontation, you can take your child. You try to live with him, see what is going to happen. This father may say, I want to live with him. No, she won't allow you to live with that child. She would rather show that it is hard, but she's the one who can do everything for that child. To get the credit. Remember where the story started. This was a happy story where you as the mother and the father met and things were somehow beautiful. I'm talking to you directly now as the mother, and I want to point something out. Either you do this already while you are with the father of your children, or you might do in the future. You know, when our fathers and mothers are old, that distraction continue. You see your mothers will be like, oh, the old man this, oh, the old man that. Oh, that old man, blah, 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 blah. You know, and from here, what I'm trying to say, you see that a mother might be 70 years. The husband is 73, 74. And she'll be referring the man as the old man. Or sometimes they are even the same age. Or she's even older than him. She'll be referring this man as the old man this, the old man that. In this sense, they don't want to be old. You can't call them older. They don't see themselves old. Often our mothers or our women. And all this has a role to play in terms of the capacity of thinking or whatever, what I'm talking about here. Knowledge-wise. You cannot behave old enough if you don't think old enough. You go on the mirror and you feel like you're still 22. Your behavior will be perhaps like somebody who's 18. And all these help our mothers to stay young, to stay happy, because as you hear in a marriage, as long as the woman is happy, happy marriage. Men will tell you this time to time. As long as your mother is happy, that's it. That's what matters. So there's a high level of selfishness here when it comes to our mothers, our women. So we go back to what I was saying. Remember what I said? These were two people who came from different paths of life. Both decided to connect. Somehow along the way, that wire was divided or was caught. Just like naturally a baby was connected to the mother through the umbilical cord. But the day of this child being born, the doctor and the nurses say that division starts today. They cut it. Nothing lasts forever. Certain relationships are meant to be 3 weeks, 7 weeks, 2 years, 20 years. And certain relationship can last until one died. And when the relationship started, there were 2 people involved. And I think a relationship can end amicably, or even when it ends badly. Later, as the time goes by, there's always a way to fix this. Because if you don't fix this, this will always affect you no matter how old you are. And fixing this is about letting go of you being the victim, letting go of the other person being the bad person, or looking only at the bad side of the story. You know, there are people, whenever they break up in a relationship, all the focus upon is often about the bad that the other person was doing. One may think that there was never a beautiful story about this man or this woman, and if the relationship ends in a year, maybe it wasn't meant to go all the way. There are people who comes in our lives, and their role will be to go to a particular length. Sometimes you meet people just once and you never meet them again. Somebody comes from somewhere and helps you, and you never see that person again. And most relationships are like this. We are not talking about blood, family relationship. because this is a relationship where people share the blood. It's not because people really love each other. Often it's also just because it's my brother, it's my sister, it's my cousin. What can I do, right? But this relationship where you met somebody, a random person or a stranger, has a day perhaps it might end where you both decided it's going to end, or one took an action that made sure that this relationship end. Whichever way, I think there's always something great about this. It doesn't matter how much you are hurt. You don't know what would have been next. Yes, losing this man or this woman may have changed your life, but your life changed perhaps the day you met that person, or the day you became a father, the day you became a mother. And another thing I want to point out is that when the mothers become mothers, they often say the child, they change their lives, but they also don't consider that even the life of that man also changed. The moment that man is called a father, even if his body did not change the shape or whatever, there is a lot of change within him. He's no longer the same because he's now a father. He's not going to be the same man, the same young boy. Every day when he does things, he's thinking, I have a child somewhere. I'm now a papa. So what I'm saying is that these relationships can end. And over time, there's always a time to understand that, well, what was done was not right. But maybe that's how it's supposed to end. That's what was meant to be. I appreciate that this relationship ended and it didn't end my life or part of my leg or this or that. And even if you lost your leg, but you have not lost the other leg, at least you're still there. That's what I'm trying to say. You can still continue with your life. This is not to encourage a relationship from breaking up. It's to say that it comes to the point where it can just finish amicably. And if this didn't finish amicably, there's always other part of life. Gain some blessing. Finish these things. Don't try to go after the other person. Try to make sure that the other person never see happiness in their life. Because this child or these children, as time goes by, could be the only happiness that man has. Some of these men don't even end up going and have other children. So this is their own proper member of family. Their brothers and sisters and cousins might not be there. His children may be the only family he has. So why break this? If you separate, his children were not there when you two met. And when you separate, why do you involve them? Why they also have to face the consequence of this union? When you brought them, you had the ambition and the willingness to make a good family. So mothers have to change their attitude from this. There is something else that I want to point out that I feel like our mothers, our women are more likely to think like. And this is also one of the reasons why they cling to the children, or they want to play the role of a mother and father and leave the father out. This also often happens. The mother will use this saga in order to put the children in a position when the children grow, then they will help them. This happens a lot. But from my understanding, often men don't have kids or baby to come help them. A man is somebody who lives very independently. They know that children supporting them is up to the children, and this doesn't mean that these fathers may not need help. But speaking from men's perspective, most men don't have kids thinking that these children will help them, although they will support the children to help themselves, to help their mother, to help other members of families. And as you know, men don't often receive the love they deserve, and things may be hard on the man, but this man will make sure that this doesn't also affect the wife or the children. There's a lot of credit taken away from a man's role and position that he plays in the family. So in this sense, a mother will be thinking about these children helping her. And like I said, some of these women will cling to the children. You see, these children are even already older, and they don't even want these children to have anything to do with their father. There are women like this somewhere, and it doesn't matter how the relationship ended between you and that man, unless if somehow you break up and the father decided that he want nothing to do with these children. But this is no longer between you and that man. This is now between the father and the child or the children, because the children are already grown up. Therefore, they can make their own decisions whether to support their fathers or not. As a mother, you can play your role, but you never be a mother and a father, because where there is not a father, there will always be an absence of a father. No matter what you do as a woman or as a mother, the absence of the father will always be seen in that child, even in you as a mother. Any child raised with one parent always missing something. Even if that child was raised by the father, the absence of the mother is always there. You may not see it, you may not experience it as a mother or as a father somehow, but that child will carry it all the way. He or she may not feel it today because he's happy running from one place to another, getting what he need or what he want, but it comes a time where this can hit that child or that gap start showing deeply. And another thing sometimes you come across is that these mothers, they will try to do as much as they can to make sure that their children are happy by saying that I don't want my child to go through what I went through, right? But this may be a mother who didn't have an opportunity to be raised by a father. And she wants to change the story, but she may have blamed parent about that or the father about that. But she also will be going in the same routes, either by knowing or by not knowing. We do the same, but she will do it openly. Perhaps her father, there was circumstances of life, that's why the father was never there. But these kind of women might have an ex-partner who wish to play a role in the life of the children, but they will push them away. When your father was never there, he was perhaps never pushed. But you are pushing this man away who want to play a part in the life of his child or children. And it doesn't matter what they give to these children. The father cannot raise the child the way you want that child to be raised, because I'm not sure that's how you were raised. If you want to buy a $200 sneaker for the child, that's okay. Use your money to do that. If the man wants to buy a $20 trainers for the child, I think the man has the right to do that. It is the duty and the responsibility of that child to decide whether we wear those trainers or not. That's up to him or that's up to her, not up to you. Something else I want to point out is the reality is fathers have much love for a child more than many mothers, although we don't usually look at it this way. Imagine even all this absence, starting from what has been there naturally, where a child has a connection with the mother in the home, to all these behavior that a mother can then develop and hand it to a child to disconnect that child from the father. The father can still show him that the love and the care, even in the distance. But the mother in this sense have not much choice but to love the child. How can you not love something you carried in the home for 9 months? Something that has made you struggle, and to deliver that is another struggle. So there is a huge connection naturally that is there. So mothers are somehow obliged to love the children they gave birth to, whether they like it or not. And this is the reason why I ask you to think about, what about if men were or start carrying pregnancy? This will be almost the same, and maybe might not be the same because the way some women behave today, we don't know. But generally speaking, I would say that this may be almost the same. The connection will be more on the father, right? Rather than the mother. And for you, my boy and my girl, remember what I said. This was a beautiful story that started where no one was even thinking that you will be there. Where your father and your mother met, you were not there. You had nothing to do with it. And I think when they decided to end their relationship, yes, you may be there, but you have to think about the choice and decisions that you make, because you share a relationship with 2 people. And between these 2 people, you can be a bridge. You can try to bring these 2 people together, or you can try to be a bridge that just build peace. You need your father as much as you need your mother. You may not think of that depending at what age you are, because you are receiving iPhone 14, iPhone 16, you're getting all trainers you need. You have been poisoned by all this pain that your mother has developed for years, handed to you, and made it as your problem. Your mother had his own mother and had his own father. So when these 2 beautiful people came together beautifully, they had a lot of ambitions, they had a love, they had a respect, they had a care. You were not there. Now you have to know your presence may have played a role in the separation of this two individuals. So you have to think carefully, because you too, you are not fully innocent. Because often we say, oh, the children are the innocent. The children have to find themselves in this. Yes, in many sense, children often get caught in between. But you also have to know that as a child, your being also played a role that shaped the relationship that existed between your father and your mother. And you can see this when you look at babies. Your mother was always close to your father, maybe on the same couch. After the baby is born, most of the attention is going to the baby. These were two people who were always together. They were like magnet. But after your birth, there will now be a gap between the father and the mother. So you have contributed also somewhere along, because even the pressure of parent having the children also affected in this sense, where they found it hard to deal with it. The responsibility that comes with being a parent itself is not easy, either on a mother or a father. So think about these things as a child. Your father was never always the bad one. Your father is never always the bad one, or the one who may have decided to leave or not to be there. Your mother is never always the victim here, never always the sweet one that you see, it bring you this and that, or the innocent. No, she's not. She may be the reason why you are without a father right now, but she's close to you, holding you tight. And this is not to start a war between you and your mother. This is to help you to think wisely and to take these things in consideration. Remember what I said, you can be a bridge that connects your mother and your father, or that creates peace between these three individuals. Yes, you might have other siblings, but I'm talking to you directly as an individual. What you can do, talk to your father, listen to your father, spend some time with your father, get their thoughts, what they think, what is going on in their lives. They might not be able to share with you because they don't feel like you are able to take it, or you care, or whatever, but you may learn a lot. And one of the very strange things you often come across is that some of these children who said that they hate their fathers or want nothing to do with their fathers, they be the boys. You may be a boy, right? And I don't fully blame you, because like I said, you've been poisoned for years. But after this podcast, I'm sure you can change the way you see things. And as I said, some of you are boys, but you forget that the person who's being dealt with here is a man like you. And one day you will be a man. You too, you are going in your own journey. You don't know how it's gonna be yet. Remember what I said, your mother may have had an absence of a father, but still do this, even when she was saying that it was bad for her, but she's still contributing to make sure that the presence of your father is not there. So you too, you are growing up, you'll be a man, you can continue to cling to your mother, a mother's boy, and see your father as the most terrible individual person on earth, and not see anything wrong with your mother, but you too, you will be a man. You will know what it's like to be a man. And most of us often think that we can do better than our fathers. Yes, you can be better than your father because that's what you think. But did you live the same life that your father went through? Remember what I said? You now carried an iPhone 16, perhaps. You are wearing shoes that your father perhaps never wear at his young age. You are enjoying things your father never dreamed of, but he, along the way, has contributed to that. Why? Because he's your father. If he didn't meet your mother, you wouldn't be there. Even if he's in the absence, your existence wouldn't be there. Your mother can say as much as she wants. This is my baby, this is my child. Okay, ask her to have another child. Without a man, that won't happen. So the man has to be in the presence. So you are a child that belongs to two parents. You are somebody who's in between. And your role should try to play like somebody in between. Somebody who brings peace. Somebody who brings beauty. Because you could be the only amazing thing or beautiful thing that happened at the end of that relationship. So you are also becoming a man, and your journey is waiting for you. Are you sure you might not go the same route? Are you sure you might not also meet a woman where you may try to do all you can to stay with this woman in peace, happily, and this woman won't stay with you, particularly after you have children? But these women will do exactly the same to your mother. And your mother also has to think this way as a woman. You have to think you are raising children, and what you are doing, there's a child of somebody else who's waiting for them there, who can do the same thing to them. Remember what I was saying, that mothers often think about this idea of children looking after them, and because the fathers often don't think much about this, and while this natural disconnection that existed since the child was in the womb and continued and then pushed by these mothers' behavior, then make it so difficult for a child not just to not see the father with high respect, with much love, but even not having the commitment to feel that the father may need support or they may need to look after their father. And the father, because it's somebody who doesn't often ask for help, this father may not try to beg you as a child for help. This is why you see a lot of men are very lonely people, as I mentioned. And as they get older, they become more and more lonely. As a child, think, how often do you call your father and how often do you call your mother when you're away? All these small things play a role. So behavior that starts while the people are together can have a huge impact even when parents separate. And this can have a lot of consequences. In this sense, as a child, you should always try to look at your parent as equal human being because they're both a parent. And I don't believe that you hate your father, but what I can say is you are like somebody who has been programmed to transform this absence, this distance or this attachment of your father into hate. This is the reason why I referred to it as poison. You are somebody who has been poisoned. And it's unfortunate that you found yourself in this position. You don't deserve this as a child because nobody was born with hate. These are behavior that people learn and develop based on who are around them. And I think you are also a victim, and I don't feel like you have the full responsibility to say you can change the whole thing. But as I said, you have a role to play. You can decide, particularly if you are the age that can listen to this and that can make change. You can change this. It may not be easy because this has happened for a long time where you have been looking at your father badly. And this is not to say that you have to see your mother as a terrible or a very bad person. No, ideally, the purpose of this is to improve one another. It's for most of us to do better, to treat people better, to question things and see what exactly went wrong. Once you know that, you can then make your own decisions while you are an adult. Because if you take a decision as an adult, you will bear the consequence that comes with those decisions. Does that make sense? And to a father, congratulations. I know you do a lot. I know you go through a lot. You might not get a lot of credit, but you deserve credit more than you get. And I think if you are not doing enough to support your child, I can always say, try, do your best. Even if you can't provide the materials, try the presence. And I know some of you, it's very difficult because you are perhaps dealing with a woman up there who may not even give you that opportunity. Or every time you try to come in contact with her regarding the child, it's the beginning of the war and argument. And I know, generally speaking, men don't like argument. This argument time to times or whatever. It's not our thing. And I say men. When I say men, you know what I'm talking about. A man in here, in the brain, not physically. Therefore, you try to back up to stay away. And if that is for the good of you and the child, I think be it. But to make sure you carry the love of that child in your heart. And when you can do what you can, not to be seen as a father, don't do it because there's a pressure on you to say you must buy something that you cannot afford to please that child. That child is your child and will always be your child. He will never or she will never become your father, whether she like or whether she doesn't like it. She'll continue to be your daughter, will continue to be your son, whether this child appreciates you or not. And she might not appreciate you today, but one day, when you are no longer there, she will know what it's like to have a father there. Just to have a father, what it means. And then after, she will know what it's like to have a father who was even buying a $10 trainers. Because once they become themselves fathers, or mothers and experience same life. If it's a girl, may have kids who their fathers may not want to be there, want nothing to do with those children. Then from there, she will start to understand. There are many single parents out there, many kids living without their parent. And it's not easy, either on the parent or on the children. It is so hard. Today, people think having children without mothers, without fathers, it's okay. But all these affect us. The lack of our fathers, our mothers in our presence affect us. I've always said the society is broken today because the family is broken. Government and the law are taking parent power. Parents are unable to educate children. Children behave things somehow. These are the things that destroy our societies. And if we have to repair, or we want to repair our societies, we have to rebuild the family where there is authority in the family. People in politics themselves love authority so badly, but in the families they disencourage that authority, not knowing that where 3-4 people come together, if there is not that authority and they respect everybody will do whatever they want to do, there must be some form of order. It is important to point out that this conversation has nothing to do with blaming women, because this doesn't operate to every woman, but to specific women who fell in this position, children and men who found themselves in this position. So let's build a beautiful society. Let's change the way we think. Let's change the way we see others, the way we behave. This is all about our behaviors. You may not change the past, but you can change the present, or you can change the future by improving the past today. Right? So if you didn't know, now you know, then I think your job started today. It's okay, because back then you may have just experienced stories, or you thought what you were doing was right, and that may be because you didn't know, or because you were using your emotions. But these things don't require us using the emotions, but it requires us to use our common sense. It requires us to use our logic. Think about what is best. Don't think about how you feel, how you felt, what you want. These are feelings, but the decisions shouldn't be based on how you feel alone, but should be based on what is and what is not. The reality, and looking at different perspectives, then you can come to a conclusion. We are here to help one another. We are all in this journey, and as people, we experience life differently. What you are going through might be terrible, but somebody else might be going through a worse situation than you are. And the best things we can do is to make sure that the terrible things that happen to us or happen to other doesn't happen to other people. That's how all of us can help to make the world a better place. We all have the duty and the responsibility to create a better society, to create a better future, to create a better world, even for those who will come after us. You agree? Maybe not, maybe yes. So I'm sure we have reached the end of this conversation. I hope after following this podcast, whether you're a father, whether you're a mother, whether you are a child, you have learned something out of it. And going forward, you will do better. You can do better. It doesn't matter how wrong you have done or it has been done to you. You can find a way to do better. So thank you for listening. Once again, my name is Balozi Esrak, and I'm so pleased that you were here. I hope to see you next time. Make sure you stay connected, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Just type Andunda Tree, or just follow our website, which is andundatree.com, and you won't miss any information. Until next time, one love.